I did 2 drafts to get ready, but they were both WNBA.
This is the worst.
Welcome into the Worst Fantasy Show. I am your host with the least, Jack Lucenay. It's been a long one today, but we are about to hit the start on our home league draft. This is a 3-man keeper league. You cannot keep the first 3 rounds. So you guys can see here, my keepers are DJ Moore, Jared Goff, because it is a Superflex, and Devon A-Chain. Itching for some A-Chain. He was a free agent pickup, so I get to keep him in the very last round. And I spent up a little bit to keep DJ Moore and Jared Goff. Because, again, Superflex League, I want at least one consistent quarterback that I like. And I really didn't think that Jared Goff would actually make it back to me without having to actually pick him with my first 3 rounds. So this way, I could actually, I think I'm going to probably punt quarterback for the first couple picks. Maybe we'll kind of see how the board shakes out. Again, you cannot keep your first 3 rounds from last year. So this will be a very interesting draft. And there are some people who have more keepers than others, right? So you can see here, SV Huntley, shout out to them. They said, I'm punting my whole team. Just yeet all these guys off my roster. Let me start from scratch. So we're waiting on Luke Staley with the 101. Let's see if it ends up being an auto picker. Classic home league shenanigans. Possible auto draft at the 101. We are starting off very strong. Shout out to all of you guys out there who are also wrestling fans. I've been the chat's lighting them up too. I love it. I've been watching AEW All In from Wembley Stadium, trying to catch up because I had such a busy day. I didn't get to watch it live during the day, so I've been watching it back. I am about to hit MJF versus Will Ospreay. Unfortunately, I could not avoid spoilers because Nature of the Beast being on online all the time as part of the content stuff. I've already got mad spoilers. Oh man, we're getting autoed right here.
I live for this shit.
And we are off. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, first 2 picks off the board here. Again, just a reminder, this is Superflex Half-PPR, which if you're not familiar, it is point per reception. It is a tight end premium also, and a Superflex. That's a big mouthful. 12-man, Half-PPR, Superflex, tight end premium, 3-keeper league. So already we are struggling. Maybe we won't. We'll see how many rounds we can get through in an hour. I might not actually stream the entire draft. We'll see. Just because it's been a real long day. I actually still have an episode that I have to record after this. And then I got to finish watching All In before I can go to bed. So, yeah, I still got a ton going on myself. But that's because, shout out to everyone watching. First of all, appreciate every single one of you. Go ahead, jump in the comments. Antonio 10, what's up, my guy? What's going on? Yeah, shout out to my guy Disco, aka Big Draft Energy. So I saw he had nobody filled in for his 24-hour draft-a-thon from 3 to 6 a.m. Like, and you know, I didn't realize he was still gonna have so many guests on, but he didn't have anyone new declared. So I actually signed up for 4 a.m. Woke up. I set my alarm at 3:45 a.m., which sounds psychotic, but it's actually only like an hour or two before I normally wake up. And so I jumped on his stream, and I ended up staying on until like 9:30, I think. So 5.5 hours. And again, huge shout out to him. The stream was to raise money for palliative care. All of the money raised is going to the CHP-CA, which is an organization here in Canada, in Ontario, where he is located. He's in Ottawa, which is our nation's capital. But yeah, he was able to meet his goal, I'm pretty sure. They were at like $1,800 or something like that when I had to jump off around 9 o'clock because I had my landlord coming over to do some minor repairs in the bathroom. And then, so I think he hit his goal and everything. So it's just, I know he hit the 24 hours because I did have the stream going the entire 24 hours. That is one thing. Also, I was with him in spirit because even if I wasn't there, I just left the stream going on my computer. The only time I didn't, there was an hour where I was recording a worst interview and I had to put him on my phone on mute for an hour. But otherwise, I was there the entire time. Yeah. Look at I'm loving I've got the chat going in the league. This is great. Already people going wild over over the auto draft picks. Oh shit. Yeah, that's because I'm on the clock and I'm just yapping away. Holy shit. Okay, well, I guess we're going quarterback here because Jalen Hurts. Yeah, that was easy. I was just like, we're about to get on. Oh yeah, it's me. It's me. Oh, okay, sweet. Okay, sweet. I will. You're probably in like the request chest. Let me go actually look that up right now. Shout out Antonio 10. Trying to join my 10-man league that won't die. This is legitimately a league that I was hoping like the guys in it would just kind of like forget about it, maybe like not want to do it. Oh, here we go. I found you. I got you. And we are moving and grooving right now. All right. Oh yeah, Hunley. I mean, I love Tyreek, but I would have definitely gone quarterback there. I can't believe Jalen Hurts was there at 105. I wasn't expecting that, to be perfectly honest. That's why I was saying I was planning on punting quarterback, but nah, Jalen Hurts and Jared Goff, that is solid as a rock. Okay, which league is here we go. The league that wouldn't die. All right. Shout out to you, Antonio 10. I have sent the invite for that league. So it's that league is actually, I'm not gonna lie, it's a fun league. I just think when I put out the tweet that best ball has like quenched my thirst for regular leagues. Like I'm just, and the one that I've really decided this year, I think that I'm just out on from now on is Dynasty. I'm done. I'm so done with Dynasty leagues. Like besides the fact that of all the fantasy community, that like the Dynasty community especially can be very condescending and snarky and negative, as compared to like, like again, in best ball, I have kind of a very contrarian theory and play style, and there's some people that subscribe to it, and then I think the general consensus though is that I'm wrong, but they're willing to acknowledge that like, but it could work. Like if you thread the needle on it, it could still work. And Dynasty is, yeah, no, it's just it's just brutal. Sometimes the way that the community can react to, trades and player evaluations. And even I was just talking to my guy, shout out to my guy Hursky. We're in a 10-man dynasty league, and he had sent me a trade that I just was like, I couldn't wrap my head around it. It was like Jahan Dotson and a pick, and he wanted Kamani Vidal and Tyrone Tracy. And I just was like, in what world would I do this? Um, but I asked him, I was like, I need to know, like, where's your player evaluation coming from so that I can kind of understand where you're coming from so that we can meet in the middle, maybe. And, shout out to him. He's very much like a dynasty degenerate. He loves like super deep and intricate dynasty leagues. There are guys out there like that. And, he was kind of discussing of like where the Kamani Vidal and Tyrone Tracy were drafted versus like a 3rd-round draft pick in the capital, and like technically it's a raise on capital and blah, 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 blah. Like I get all of that, but at the same time, I'm just like, practically speaking, Kamani Vidal is a Gus Bus or a JK one leg injury away from being very relevant for fantasy. And Tyrone Tracy, I think, could be relevant in like a dual role, but if anything were to happen to Devin Singletary, yeah. There we go. We got our second auto pick. It was a Jamar Chase pick. And then Bijan Robinson. I'm not going to lie. I would have been considering Bijan as high as 105. And yeah, this is probably going to look weird to a lot of people because this is, again, a keeper league. This is a linear draft. A little bit of a throwback. How often have you guys been in a linear draft? It's almost always snake. But yeah, because this is a keeper draft, and I think, I don't remember if this is this is a mixed order is what it was. But because of the keeper draft and because of the settings, it's a linear draft format. But yeah, I've got another home league draft. So I've got 2 main home leagues. There's this one. Shout out to the guy that runs it. His name is Eric. So once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, when I still played on other apps, I was invited to play in Eric's league when it was on MFL, which was like this crazy app. And it's still around too. MFL is, by the way. But anyways, so we played on MFL, and that league ended up folding. And so when Eric finally brought the home league back, and especially when I saw that it was on Sleeper, I was like, yes, I will participate 100%. So this is one where, I just participate in the league, and it's a really great league. And then the other home league is one that I run. That's my wrestling themed league, the one that I do the Royal Rumble draft for the draft order. So I sim a Royal Rumble on WWE 2K17 because that's the copy that I have. And that's how it decides our draft order. And that one's $150 buy-in, weekly prizes. And the best part, in my opinion, is that if you finish last in that league, you're out. You get banished for 1 year. And to show you how serious it is, last season, the guy that got banished was actually my co-commissioner and the league treasurer. So he's the one that got banished. Man, I got a tough decision here, to be honest. As much as I'm really into Saquon Barkley this year, I don't know that I want to stack Hurts and Saquon necessarily. I gotta remember some of my other running back targets that I would normally grab later are not going to be available to me though. So maybe we don't worry about being overweight on the Eagles because we think they're going to be such a good team. Or maybe we go Marvin Harrison Jr. here and hope for that historic rookie season. Shout out to my guy JC. JC from Sports Affiliation, wherever you are, this pick's for you, my man. We're going all in on the Eagles, baby. Obviously, I don't have AJ Brown because that just was never going to be available to me. But JC, when we were at draft night out, which was at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, and if you're just a fan, I highly recommend that you make your way to the Fantasy Football Expo next year because it is a trip. Yes, I'm a content creator, but I very much went as a fan. Like, I didn't have a booth. I didn't rep my show even that much. I kind of like, if people asked or introduced me as a content creator, I would jokingly say like, yeah, I'm the worst. And I would talk a little bit about my show, but honestly, I was really there as purely as a fan. And I had an absolutely incredible experience. Also, I won. They're still on the way. I should actually chat the guy up and be like, hey, what's up? But when I was at the expo, I won custom JJ Watt shoes. So I got to pick like the make and the color and the player. The size really important because I wear a 12 and a half, which is like a weird size to find if you're just like, if you're like me and you're cheap and you just go to like Walmart and shit, like it's like you gotta almost go to the fucking specialty shoe store or something. But anyways, long story short, ballin' ass shoes. I won ballin' ass, and they're Jordans too, which I was like, custom Jordans, custom JJ Watt Jordans are gonna be so fucking fly. So I'm really excited to get those. But yeah, I met Matt Harmon, Marcus Grant, among others. Like literally, I met like 100 content creators at least, and even to the point of like, because I live up north in Canada, and also even in like not just the fact that I live in Canada, but I live in Quebec, Canada. I don't know every single analyst, even like the really big name ones. So one that was really funny was JJ Zachariason, known as Late Round QB on Twitter. Really popular analyst, really big in the space, like been around for a long time, very established. And I had no idea who this guy was. And in fact, it was funny because I saw him talking to Joe Bryant, who is the one of the main guys over at Football Guys. And Joe Bryant and him kind of look similar. So I was like, oh, that's nice. Joe Bryant brought his son to the expo and they do content. Like, that's really cool. And then I come to find later, like, oh, no, that was actually JJ Zacharias, and they were just having a conversation. So yeah, like I said, it's such and everyone's so friendly. Like, I mentioned Marcus Grant and Matt Harmon. Like, I just walked up and talked to Marcus Grant at the Friday night party. When I saw Matt Harmon arrive at the hotel, I just kind of walked up into the circle of people talking to him. I introduced myself. I said, hey, been watching your content for like 10 years, so appreciate you. But yeah, really, really highly recommend the Fantasy Football Expo. I just think that's such an amazing experience. All right, I've been yapping the fuck away here. We finally got enough like draft capital on the board to talk some shit about some of these decisions. Remembering that some of these were already auto picks. So, pretty standard for a Superflex, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. But then we see some deviation here with McCaffrey and AJ Brown. And their only keeper was Devin Singletary in the very last round. So that's an interesting start. And then we have Huntley here went Tyreek, Dak. I obviously went full Eagles, Lamar, and Caleb Williams. So this is probably the most traditional start for a super flex, especially because they kept, oh yeah, that makes sense, Deontay Johnson, Alvin Kamara, and Taysom Hill in the very last round. And then my guy Puntapalooza here, that's the main man Eric that runs the league. So starting with CD Lamb, That's nice. Probably, I bet he was hoping Dak would make it back, and he got sniped on that. But Tua, I think, is a very competent quarterback to have in a super flex. Now, it was a bit of a struggle down the stretch last season. I think that could improve this year. I like what they've done with the offense, except for the offensive line. I think that's the one big flaw they have. I would keep an eye on that for the rest of the preseason. If they manage to trade for a center before they actually, or even, in the first couple of weeks before the trade deadline, if they manage to get a center, I actually think you could see a much stronger Dolphins team kind of down the stretch, as opposed to last year where we kind of saw them fade down the home run. But yeah, after that, we saw Travis Kelce go. And that makes sense so Blues here, their two keepers, Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, obviously amazing quarterback keepers in a super flex. So they get to start with just filling out skill positions. So they go with Justin Jefferson and Travis Kelce. Now, me personally, if I already have Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, those are not the two picks I'm making. And this is just my opinion at this point. I would have gone with Bijan Robinson there. I'm a super huge Bijan Robinson guy this year, and I was not last year. I was out on it last year as a rookie with Arthur Smith, where he was going. I was out on it, and this year I'm the complete reverse. This year I am so in on Bijan Robinson. It's like, I get that Tyler Algier is there. That matters not even a little bit to me. Raheem Morris, the head coach now for the Atlanta Falcons, and the fact that they brought over 3/4 of the Rams coaching staff, has already said we are going to give him the CMC role. So I'm like all over Bijan Robinson this year. Again, I literally was thinking about it at 105. The only reason I could not bring myself to do it is because Superflex, Jalen Hurts was there. And honestly, Lamar would have also been one where it's like, I expected basically Allen, Mahomes, and then Hurts and Lamar, and then I would have been deciding between McCaffrey, Hill, and Bijan. And in a home league like this, I think I would have stamped Bijan there, honestly. So, sup, Albert? What's going on, my guy? Oh, but yeah, now we're waiting on Luke Staley, who got auto drafted at his first pick, may get auto drafted here at his third pick. Again, classic home league shenanigans. We'll see how many rounds we were able to get through. I am cutting this one early. Shout out to football guys. I ended up doing the entire stream for that draft. It was like an hour and 40 minutes long. If you guys ever want to go check it out. But it's for the first annual Football Guys Bowl. And Joey Wright jumped on the stream halfway through. So that was really awesome. Hey, shout out to Eric. Hi, Jack. Thanks for broadcasting this tonight. No, Eric, thank you for hosting this league, because being a commissioner is the toughest job in fantasy football, the most unappreciated job in fantasy football. As a fellow commissioner myself, I can attest to this. So I appreciate you having this league for us. And I'll get to take a break after this, actually. I won't take a break of the stream, but from picking, because then my DJ Moore and Jared Goff will automatically fill that 4th and 5th round. And again, getting Jared Goff in the 5th, I don't believe there is any way that he would have made it. Normally, he'd already be off the board by now, or especially in this run. We see all quarterbacks go, and I still have lots of great options available. Ooh. Now I'm a little bit perplexed here. I've already got Saquon and A-Shane. I have been a very heavy T guy this year. Ooh. Yeah, no, you know what? I love that. We're going with DK Metcalf here. So shout out to Disco. I got big draft energy. The reason I'm making this pick is twofold. One, I really love DK Metcalf just irregardless. I think that offense is going to throw the ball more. If for any reason anything happens to Geno Smith, I think Sam Howell steps in as a very capable backup who will also throw it around the lot. So I really like Seattle this year and the wide receivers. DK Metcalf primary among them because I think as much as I love JSN and Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf separates himself from those two physically with his play style. He's a true alpha one wide receiver. Also, correlation: DK Metcalf and DJ Moore, the Seattle and Chicago play each other late in the year. I think it's week 17, which would be the championship. So hopefully that would be like a high-scoring game with two high-powered offenses. The Bears with their three wide receivers, the Seahawks with their three wide receivers, assuming health for everybody, obviously. But yeah, I think potentially that could actually be like a spice meatball of a game. And combining that with my Eagles stack and Jared Goff, and then the spike potential of Devon Achane, I'm really loving this start for my team here. I think it gives us a balanced start. The only guy I was really looking at there hard was it was actually two other positions. It was Derrick Henry at the running back position and Dalton Kincaid at the tight end position. So filling that onesie or just overloading on running back, those were two things I considered. But I think I prefer what I've done here with the DK DJ stack for that week 17 game, stacking Hurts and Barkley together. I'll get all the rushing touchdown for the Eagles, but also I think Saquon could get some nice receiving touchdowns too. And then I love Hurts as the Superflex quarterback. Jared Goff has like 12 dome games this year. He's one of my favorite quarterback twos in Superflex. That's why I kept him, because at a fifth round value, especially as you can see with the quarterbacks pretty much drying up already. Let's go take a look. It's like, yeah, we're in the Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield range. Usually Goff, it would definitely be off the board by now. So maximize that value. It's 2 rounds of value on a quarterback and a super flex that I really like. So we're waiting a little bit now until our next picks. You know what? We're almost already at the halfway mark. Let's take a 30-second dance party.
30-second dance party.
This is how we party.
Oh, yeah. Critical analysis. That's what we are all about, folks. Stats, numbers, crunch them. Oh. Shout out to my guy Eric with the GIF in the chat. Love it. Yeah. So after my DK Metcalf pick, we saw Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor was a keeper, and then Chris Olave and the aforementioned Derrick Henry. Oh, do love. I also consider Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a hot pick this year. He's locked in, I think, for if Gus Bus could score 12 touchdowns on that team, Derrick Henry is going to score like 20 million touchdowns. But for real, I have him. I think I had him statted for like 1,200 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns, which would definitely be an RB1 season for sure. Oh, man. Give me those TDs. Oh, Dallas Goedert as a keeper in the 6th round. What in the ever-loving fuck? Oh, my God.
Go fuck yourself.
Shout out AEW. Like I said, I was watching All In earlier. Christian won some convoluted ass version of the Royal Rumble. So he's gonna get a shot at their world champion, which is right now Daniel Bryan. Yeah, that's weird to say. But yeah, Dallas Goedert is on my just fucking putrid hate list for fantasy football. The only person I think I've ever talked more shit about is T. Higgins, but like Dallas Goedert. Let me bring this up so you guys can see why I hate Dallas Goedert so much. All right, where's the fucking career shit for this? Come on, here we go. Career. Boom. Here we go. All right. This is why I hate Dallas Goedert so much, guys. I want you to look at this. Career high. He did it one fucking time. 830 yards. That's it. The man has never even cracked 850 receiving yards in a single season. All right. Oh, is he a reception guy? No. He's never had more than 60 receptions in an entire season. In fact, he's had 58, 56, 55, 59. Because he just doesn't get a lot of targets. Touchdowns? Is he a big touchdown red zone guy? No. He's never had more than 5 in his entire career, and that was in 2019. He's had a combined 10 touchdowns over the last 3 years. He's one of the most useless fucking fantasy assets, in my opinion, in the entire game. Like, you talk about a guy that I will absolutely. Now, the only time I would take Dallas Goedert, and again, shout out to my guy JC, because that draft night out, the whole table was chanting. So what happened was, draft night out again, it's an event that happens where you get to do a live draft at the Fantasy Football Expo. It happens at a bar on Saturday during the day, and we were doing the IDP league. And he started with AJ Brown, and then he ended up with Jalen Hurts. Or no, he took AJ Brown and Saquon is what it was, and then he ended up getting Jalen Hurts because he kind of forgot that he had done that. And then he had all 3 of them, and we were kind of already joking about it. And then it was like the 13th round, and he had punted tight end, but Dallas Goedert was still there hanging around. And he says he's like, I'm not doing it. And the whole table is chanting at this point for him to do it, and he ends up smashing the Dallas Goedert. So Dallas Goedert in like the 13th round as like a correlating stack with my Eagles. Like, okay, fine, really twist my arm about it. I got a whole room chanting at me. That's about the only situation I'm clicking Dallas Goedert. I literally have I don't have like a shit ton of best ball, like some of these best ball bros out here doing like hundreds of drafts and stuff. But like, I can tell you, in all the best ball drafts that I've done, and all the redrafts I've done, all the dynasty I've done, I'll tell you how much Dallas Goedert I have is fucking 0. The only, like I said, the only guy I think I have more hate for than Dallas Goedert is T. Higgins, because T. Higgins is just perennially pushed up like, oh, but he could just be so good as like he's a wide receiver 1 on every other team. Yeah, but he's not on every other team. He's on his team, and he's got a clear number 1 blocking his path to ever doing anything more than like the absolute ceiling for him is 1,210. And that's like, that would actually be a huge outlier, because that would mean Burrow had a fucking crazy outlier season. I love the chat trolling me here. Questions, Jack. Is Dallas Goedert good? Yeah. Hit back 30 seconds like 6 times, and you'll find out how I feel about Dallas Goedert. Cooper Kupp at 4-1 here is really nice value, though. I will say that much. Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. You darkness retreat ayahuasca drinking motherfucker. Oh, okay. I feel like people say ayahuasca and like don't actually understand what that entails. I can tell you guys as a seasoned veteran in the drug game. I've never done ayahuasca. First of all, ayahuasca is not just like something that's like easily accessible. It's supposed to be like a spiritual renaissance. Like it's a fucking it's an experience that's literally supposed to like change your life and your way of thinking. And I can kind of understand why that would be. So while I have never done ayahuasca, I have done dimethyltryptamine, which is known more casually as DMT. And DMT, I can tell you, will fuck you right up. And it's honestly, of all the things I've ever done, and I've done almost every drug. Like I've never done neat. And to be very clear, all the things that I'm saying are past tense, guys. I haven't done any of this shit in like a fucking decade now. Literally, the last time I did any kind of drugs that weren't marijuana was I was like, like 23 or 24. Like I'm 34 years old now. I've got 2 kids. I ain't doing shit like that no more. All right. But back in my day, yeah. So my buddy, he made like dimethyltryptamine, again the DMT, and I did it. And okay, the best way I can describe it is your first 30 to 60 seconds is the most intense mushroom trip you've ever had in your entire life. The next 60 to 90 seconds after that is the most intense acid trip that you've ever had in your entire life. The 10ish 15 minutes after that is a literal out of body experience. It almost feels like a near death experience. Like it's like you're dreaming. It's called the dream drug for that reason, because it actually does almost feel like a living dream. It's kind of fucking crazy. A lot of people describe it the same way. For me, the experience was, I could best describe as I became energy, which I would imagine is what happens to you after you die. And I went like flying through all these like intergalactic tubes. All right. And then just like you're at some point, it's like your time's up and it's just you get fucking sucked out of the tube and you're back in the acid trip and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And just slowly it turns into the mushroom trip. And then you're just completely stone sober. And that's honestly the most jarring part of all, is the fucking cold sobriety that you come out into after having the most intense drug experience of your entire imagination, life, and existence is just fucking unreal. Like the stark reality that you meet is just like, wow. Right? So ayahuasca is just what I described for 8 fucking hours. Like, that's what it is. So that's why people like consider it as like a spiritual experience, is because if you think about like if you were to do that for that long and then come out the way that I just described, and again like kind of meet that refreshing, stark, cold, somber reality of sobriety, you almost embrace it in a way that you're like, you view it in a different way where you appreciate it more. And so that's where they call it like, to them, it's like, oh, that's the enlightenment that I found, is appreciating life and its mundanity. But it's like, nah, that was a cold ass trip, my guy. That's what that was. Whew. Also, shout out to Eric. I did see your comment there that said this is the greatest sports show ever. Just, yeah, that's again, people have, questioned, like, why would you not be part of like a group? I've had amazing opportunities to be part of things like fantasy sports advice network with my guy Tyler Bradley. Could have built that from the ground up. I've had opportunities to join amazing communities, and I'm like, guys, you don't need me doing 10-minute bits about dimethyltryptamine on your fucking show, okay? That's why my show exists. That's why I have my little corner of the internet. I don't have to worry about monetization and ratings and sponsors and fucking that kind of shit. That's exactly why this show exists. So yes, I appreciate you, Eric, and noticing that. Yeah, this is the greatest, even though it's called the worst. I think we might be the greatest sports channel. Blowing smoke in my face. What the fuck is that? Disrespect. So disrespectful. Man, we still got a hot minute before we're back on this board. All right, let's actually check in on what everybody else is doing. See, we saw that tight end. So after Cooper Kupp at the 4-1, we'll pick it up from there. We saw Dalton Kincaid and Mark Andrews start a little bit of a tight end run, because then we saw Joe Mixon and then George Kittle. I actually really like Kittle a lot this year in a redraft format or like a keeper format like this, where you're not necessarily going to have to keep him. Because I think with Kittle, what I like about him is that he really has the connection with Brock Purdy. I think even if Ayuk leaves, it's just even better. But I actually think that even if Debo and Ayuk are both there, Kittle is still very viable. And CW here in the chat, yes, weed is very legal in Canada. And it's been legal for a hot minute. So it's funny, actually, because I used to have literal arguments with my father when I was a teenager over how stupid it was that it was illegal, and that was going to change at some point. And his response was, "I know, but it's not changed now." And I was like, "Fuck, that's such an old school mentality, though. Like, it's wrong. Like." So, and it's funny. So when they finally legalized, my dad was almost like defeated in a sense of like, yeah, it's like now. So now, but I think there's also a huge like misconception about weed and marijuana, and it really affects so many people in so many different ways. Like, I know a lot of people that get anxiety from it, or they can have bad trips or whatever. And maybe in like my earliest experiences of smoking weed that would happen to me, but for the most part, I'm just really like, yeah, I don't get as high, I think, as most people do. Like, so, and I'm like a weird tolerance. The first time there's like stories of like people trying to smoke weed their first time and they don't get high, and that happened to me too. But that was like, we smoked a joint. There were 6 of us. It passed around, and I was 12 years old. So it was like, kind of normal that I didn't like get baked from like a couple puffs off a joint, whatever. But the other time was, I was in the car with my buddy and his older brother, and they were smoking bowls, and I decided, it's funny because my buddy had been trying to push me into it for so long, and his brother, without asking me, just kind of was like, "You want some?" I was like, "You know what? Yeah, sure. Fuck it. I'll do it." And I smoked weed with them, and so it was just 3 of us in a car smoking weed in a pipe. I think we smoked maybe 2 bowls back, like round in circles. And I got out of that car, and I tell you guys, I was sober as a judge, like nothing. And that same friend was the one that he basically he basically was the one that was like really trying to get me baked. And so he pulled me out into the woods and we smoked like an eighth, which is like 3.5 grams of just the finest of the Mary Jane. And even then, I still felt like pretty sober until I stood up. And when I tell you guys that I entered one plane of existence into another, when I stood up that day, like I shit you not, my entire life changed on that day. It's funny because like there are certain weed smokers I feel like that it's like the movie Half Baked of like you. I don't remember the first time I had sex. I don't remember the first time I had a birthday, but I remember the first time I smoked weed. Like, oh man. Hey, shout out to my guy Sir Football. You could get sponsors, just some very interesting ones. Yo, you are not wrong, my friend. So to finish answering the question, very long-winded answer like always. The shit, clicky going crazy. Is weed legal in Canada? Yes, I literally order it online and it shows up in the fucking mail. In Ontario, it's actually crazy. They've got weed dispensaries every like as far as you can throw a rock. Like in Hawkesbury, where is I'm moving to, there it's a small ass town. This is like a town of like 10,000 people at the most, I think. There's like 8 fucking dispensaries, I swear to God. Just on like 5 minutes away from my house, there's a dispensary, and then just a couple more minutes down the road, there's another dispensary. And like if you were to go the opposite direction, like 5 minutes down the road, another fucking dispensary. Like it's crazy how many they are. When I was in Sault Ste. Marie, which is where I grew up as a teenager, literally dispensaries everywhere. Just it's crazy. I can't imagine what it's like in Toronto because Toronto had dispensaries even before it was legal, like little kind of hole in the wall bodegas. Say it with me now, bodegas. And no, you didn't have to show your ass to them for them to remember you. It was just like they treated it like a store. Shout out Antonio 10. Also, I'm high on Kittle, especially if Ayuk leaves. Hey man, I'm high on everything, but yeah, I'm also high on George Kittle, even if Ayuk stays. All right, so I don't even remember where I left off here. I think it was right around the tight ends. Oh yeah, it was the tight ends. Okay, so my guy Eric took Devonta Smith. And then we had Stephon Diggs, Malik Neighbors, Debo Samuel was a keeper, Rashad White keeper, Brandon Ayukin. So Ayuk did not make it back. I could have kept Ayuk, to be honest. It was between him and DJ Moore. I actually sacrificed more to keep more. So I actually maybe could have kept Ayuk, but I would not have gotten Moore and Metcalf back. So I'm okay with that. And also, I'm like, if he does get traded, that's gonna suck. And Brees Hall at 5'12 as a keeper, that's awesome. But yeah, so I went Brandon Ayuk and then Kyle Pitts. James Cook was a keeper, that's a great keeper. George Pickens, Ramondre Stevenson, and then Jared Goff was my keep. Zay Flowers, Baker Mayfield, DeAndre Swift, Amari Cooper, Brock Purdy-licious. And we are on 5'11. I'll probably make these 2 picks that we can actually see here, and then we'll call it a night for this one, I think. And I'll do the rest of this just like on my phone. Been a really long day. So I probably just want to do an hour stream, and we're already running on 49 minutes here. But I super appreciate every single one of you is watching right now. Oh, T. Higgins. Yeah, I hate T. Higgins a lot. Like a lot. Phil going double tight end, taking Brock Bowers. This is a tight end premium. Got to remember that. And Calvin Tech here, or Calvin Teach, sorry, on the board right in front of me. Let's see what they do. I know who I want. Bro, that's home leagues. people, you can always count on one guy to draft someone 3 rounds ahead of ADP. Yeah. I don't hate it. Go get your guy. I don't think I'm as in on Brock Bowers as I wanted to be, but all right, here we go. SV Huntley. Oh, they're gonna snipe me. I can just tell. They were probably hoping the teach didn't snipe them. So I'm gonna have to decide who I want here. Oh, okay, I'm good. Excuse me. Hey now. All right. So there's 2 guys I want here. They're both tight ends. Wow. Surprising pick there. Well, hot damn, if you're just going to pass up on the #1 receiving option for Trevor Lawrence and take the second or third guy even in Christian Kirk, I will go ahead and take Evan Ingram all day. Bro, I had 2 touchdowns in a preseason game. Like, Trevor Lawrence is very much Evan Ingram is a safety blanket for him. Evan Ingram is an absolute smash pick for me there. There was another tight end a little bit further down. It would have been a little bit of a reach, but he is a protector of Gotham, right? He's not a protector of Gotham. He's trying to take over Gotham. My apologies. Wearing his crazy fire mask. See if you guys can figure out who the hell I'm talking about. Maybe he makes it back to me. Maybe I'm able to take him with my other pick. Again, tight end premium. I would not be opposed to going double tight end here. Assuming, again, the one that I wanted made it back to me. But I don't know if he will, because if Teach wants to go double tight end, it would actually make a lot of sense for his build. Oh, man, that is a wide receiver room that I, for some reason, just fucking hate. Zay Flowers, Rashee Rice, and Deontay Johnson. Why does that seem so stinky to me? People are really in on Rashee Rice, and I'm like, guys, Rashee Rice is a nice possession wide receiver, but like, to me, the ceiling for him would be like 1,000. He's like a Jacoby Myers. It actually reminds me a lot of Jacoby Myers with the Patriots. Like, he'll get some touchdowns, but he's not the touchdown guy. He's kind of like the possession wide receiver. It's like the explosive plays are going to come from Worthy, Hollywood when he eventually comes back, and and then you have like Travis Kelce as like the actual like primary receiving option in the middle of the field. I feel like Rashee Rice is almost like redundant in a sense. Like, he kind of is filling the Juju Smith-Schuster role on the offense. It's just not very exciting. Like, again, between him and Calvin Ridley, bro, Calvin Ridley had like fucking 6 drop touchdowns last year, and now he's got Will Levis who's just gonna throw it all over the yard. Like, I would rather have Calvin Ridley if it was me. I honestly would not have kept Deontay Johnson. I don't know what it is about Deontay Johnson. Maybe it's because I'm a Steelers fan and watching him just quit like a little fucking bitch on that one play, like, really stuck in my craw. That's something that, I can accept a lot of flaws from football players, but a lack of effort and toughness is something that I really look for. And when I see that in a player, when I see that they're bitch made, like, I just struggle to like draft them ever. And then I look at, like, as much as I like Bryce Young to take a step forward, I just think with Adam Thielen and Leggett, it's just like, it's a really crowded wide receiver room, and I think people don't really view it that way. And then, like, assuming when Jonathan Brooks is able to come back. Yeah, I'm sorry, CW. I am talking a lot of shit about your team right now. I see it. Okay, Jack, chill. I mean, hey, the Zay Flowers, they get the stack with Lamar. My thing with Flowers is, I think with Mark Andrews on the field, it's really capped in a sense. And then Rashee Rice, like I said, I think he's a nice possession wide receiver. I don't see the ceiling. And same with Deontay. I think they all are kind of the same in the sense of like I see their floors and not their ceilings. But hey, I mean, if you have a difference of opinion, shout out to you. Best of luck winning the league. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll have smash seasons and then you'll be the champion and you get to talk shit to me. And you'll be like, oh, you're talking all that shit. You took fucking Evan Ingram. Shut the fuck up. All right. Maybe we'll get to make another pick before we sign off here. You guys have any questions in the comments that you want me to hit before I get the hell out of here? Mark Andrews has one leg. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get that he gets injured and stuff, but like I struggle to be like, oh, well, I'm going to take this guy because that other guy is going to get hurt. It's just not really the way that I like to play. Like I always try to go in like assuming health. Like I know there's certain players that like are always missing games and always getting injured, and you can kind of factor that in a little bit, but like, you know, I even think like let me put this in perspective this way. If Mark Andrews only plays 14 games, so you get 3 games without Mark Andrews, and let's just say that those games come in like the middle of the season. Let's just say they're like week 6 through 9. Like, is that really going to matter in the grand scheme of things for your season if they're both there in the fantasy playoffs? Kind of, it's not that Zay Flowers takes away from Mark Andrews, that Mark Andrews takes away from Zay Flowers. I think that's my only real issue. Because I think Zay Flowers kind of, some people still mistakenly like perceive him as like a really like a speedster, but that's not really his game. Jake Ferguson, Turd Ferguson. Yo, Fergalicious. I love Fergalicious. I'm not gonna lie. I actually think if my guy Eric there had not taken Calvin Ridley. Oh no, okay. I forgot he didn't end up getting Dak. He could have gone full Cowboys. Yeah, I mean Xavier Worthy I like a lot more in best ball. In a redraft format, I struggle because it's like I don't know if you're gonna know when to start him, but when he pops, it's gonna be like for a huge I feel like it'll be like 2 for 80 and a touch or 3 for 150 and 2 touch. All right, I am actually gonna make it back on the board here at some point. There's a lot of guys still that I really like too. And we've got a full team already. I'm loving life right now. Right? Yeah, full team. Okay, no, we still actually need one more wide receiver. And then we can just focus on a flex. Ooh, I do see one of my favorite guys there, but yeah, no. In a league like this, I don't want to punt it too much. I'm gonna take Najee Harris here. It's so funny. It's been such a hard click for me after last season because I got so badly burned on Najee last year because I was so done with it by the end of the season that I didn't get like even those good games at the end of the year. But I just know Arthur Smith. I know Arthur Smith's system. I know what he likes to do. The reason they brought him in is it's a bit of a throwback to like old Steelers football. They want to run power offense like back in the day. Arthur Smith runs the highest percentage of 2 tight end sets in the NFL. And in fact, even runs a lot of 3 tight end sets. A lot of them are at a single back. Again, these are power running sets. And even before Jaylen Warren got injured, I was completely out on Jaylen Warren because if you look at the way that Arthur Smith treated Bijan Robinson last year, like that is essentially how he's going to treat Jaylen Warren, except he's not going to have the draft capital of a first round top 10 pick invested. So you're going to see even less of Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren is going to be an ancillary player, and he's going to be great for our offense as a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. He's just not going to be really viable for fantasy a lot of the time. Like maybe if you're in a full PPR league, he'll have some games, and I guess I don't hate him. I mean, where he was going in best ball, he was going next to Najee, so I just couldn't do it. I'm telling you, Najee Harris is a lock for 1,000 rushing yards in this offense. Like in fact, and it's funny because the preseason game, which is, ironically last year was kind of the opposite, where the offense didn't necessarily look that bad in the preseason, but Najee did. And this year it's kind of the opposite, where the offense looks bad, but Najee doesn't. The best play they had was Najee Harris. So I will say, hey, CW, I talked a lot of shit about your team early. I will say I really love the George Kittle pick. We talked about that. I actually really love your quarterback room, Lamar, and you took Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is someone I was kind of like out on early, and then I've kind of come around to it lately. So I like that pick a lot. But your keepers, Alvin Kamara at 8.6 and Taysom Hill at 16.6, that's tremendous value. The Saints are going to be a shitty, gross team this year, but those guys are absolutely going to produce for fantasy. So I love that aspect of your team. I just am not, again, agree to disagree. I just wasn't a huge fan of the wide receiver room, but I like the rest of your team. So maybe that's a little bit of a trade-off. I do like sizing up the competition right about this time. Let's see who else I really like their build. I mean, Mitzi Alms, I do like what you got going on, but you're going to need a second quarterback at some point. But I really love the stack with Kirk Cousins and Bijan Robinson. I actually like the MHJ Devontae Adams combo. Jake Fergalicious, I like that. Michael Pittman, solid. Mostert, solid. And CW says, thank you. I inherited this team. Man, I've been missing a bunch in like the league chat while I've been yapping away on the show. Oh, Lad McConkey. That's actually so. When I was on the board there, looking at Najee Harris and thinking I needed a wide receiver 3, Lad McConkey is the guy I was really looking hard at, especially because then I would have also been able to have him as a potential keeper. Because you got to kind of think about that going forward. Lad McConkey. I really liked him there, but I just couldn't resist Najee there, because I feel like as much as I love A-Shane, that's very like spiky potential, and I do expect him honestly to miss a couple games here and there. So to have kind of Saquon and Najee as more like cemented RB1, RB2, and then just having A-Shane as like a crazy flex, I'm a little more comfortable with that, and I like the rest of my team. Again, feeling great about Hurts and Goff as a QB combo, and Evan Ingram as a tight end, and a tight end premium, where I just know he's going to get peppered with receiving, with receptions. All right. Oh yeah, Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is, I think he is a representative of fantasy football and how it doesn't always equate to real life football. I still cannot get on the Anthony Richardson bandwagon. I get that he is supposed to be like a modern day Cam Newton. I actually think McConkey might be a Scottish name. I would have to look it up, to be honest. I will say, no, it has. It's probably the MC thing fucks me up because the MC is like usually Irish, but it could also be Scottish. The Scottish could also be MAC. Let's see, McConkey. Oh shit! Oh my god. Yeah, Irish. There you go. It's an Irish surname. However, this is why it's fucking confusing as shit. The surname arose in Scotland. In Scotland from the Irish Dalriada people. So it was Irish people, but they were in Scotland. So I was kind of right. You see, it can be very muddled and confusing because they're so close to each other. But yeah. I forget what the fuck I was talking about before we went on the McConkey Irish heritage train there. Jesus Christ. No, completely escaped my mind. Oh, Anthony Richardson. Okay, yeah. I'm out on Anthony Richardson. The reason is because he said, I'm not going to change my play style. And the coach said, I'm not going to make him change his play style. I'm like, yeah, well, that's nice that you think that. But I don't care how big and tall and strong and fast you think you are. You cannot run face first into Foyziel Luacan and think that you're just going to be okay. Like, I'm sorry. NFL linebackers are also big and fast and strong, and so are the defensive tackles and linemen. If you think you're just going to run face first into them all the time, you got another thing coming, bro. You got to learn how to get out of bounds and slide. If I was his coach, I would have him watching Russell Wilson game tape on repeat. You say what you want about Russ. He is an incredible runner of the football in terms of protecting himself and gaining yardage. Like, he can get the yardage that he needs and then get out of bounds or slide so that he's not getting absolutely rickety wrecked by NFL defenders. And Anthony Richardson desperately needs to learn that skill. So if you're telling me that he's just going to do the same shit that he did last year, well, guess what? He's going to get hurt just like he did last year. Because even if you're not playing through a major injury, you're going to be playing through minor injuries. And he's already just not the greatest passer of the football. Like, I don't want anyone in this passing offense aside from Michael Pittman. And it's because, like, the only way to me anyone else would even be viable is you would be basically saying, yeah, Anthony Richardson got injured and we got old man Flacco out here again. So, yeah, no way. I'm just out on Anthony Richardson. And I get that if he's healthy and he plays the whole season, I will be wrong just by the virtue of running quarterbacks. I mean, again, Justin Fields could just as easily be as productive as Anthony Richardson this year if he ends up being the starter for the Steelers, because Russian quarterbacks are just stupid and they break fantasy football. All right, we are running a little bit long. I'm going to make my next pick because we're right around the corner, and then we're going to sign off here. I'm going to have to, like, look and see. I don't see him anywhere. Oh, fuck yes. Smash pick for me. Oh, yeah. Let me get some Brian Thomas Jr. A little bit ahead of ADP here. I absolutely love this pick. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr., I think, has potential to develop into like a true number one wide receiver. And again, the format of this league being that it's a 3 keeper league and I'm not going to be able to keep my first 3 picks, potentially Brian Thomas Jr. as a keeper next year at 8.5. Even though I have Evan Ingram, I feel like Evan Ingram gives me like the solid middle tier, just week to week production, and Brian Thomas Jr. at the wide receiver spot gives me those huge spike weeks, those big plays. I mean, we already saw in the preseason going down and catching 38 yards downfield. Like, I fucking love Brian Thomas Jr. I loved him pre-draft. I gotta look it up because I think I even had him ahead of Roma Dunes. I was so bullish on him. I wonder if I still have my notes here. Oh, I do. Nice. Okay, wide receiver. Ha! Boom! Proof. These are my notes. Wide receiver top 10. This was the rookie show I did pre-draft. So Marvin Harrison Jr. was number 1. Size, speed, separation contested, over the shoulder, prototypical NFL pedigree. My number 2, Malik Neighbors, route running, solid speed, pro style offense and defenses. And then Brian Thomas Jr. I had at number 3, even ahead of Roman Dunes. Big, blazing, fast, 4.33 40, makes NFL catches, needs to tighten his routes a little bit, but could be a monster. That was my pre-draft report on I can't help but pronounce everything differently, you guys. All right, I come from French Canada. I know that it's everyone else says O'Duns. I'm telling you that that's wrong, but I get that that's how he says it, and I will go with that because that's his name. But the pronunciation, if someone from this region were to just look at the name, they would be like O'Dunes. That's just how you would pronounce something like that around these pots. So apologies for my weird. If you hear me saying names weird sometimes, like that's why. And I'll give you another example. Is who was there was a guy I was talking to. Oh no, it wasn't. It was on an episode. There was this guy. His name was like Paul. I don't even know how the fuck you guys say it in English, to be honest. Theorit? Paul Theorit? I'll spell it in the group in the chat so you guys can know what the hell I'm saying. How would you pronounce that name right there? Because to me, that's Theoret. You're like, what the fuck did he just say? Theoret. That's how you pronounce that name. How would you guys pronounce that? Because I guarantee it's going to be something like Theoret or something. Theoret? Theoret? Are you guys saying it with like the way I'm saying it, or are you pronouncing the TH? Are you saying Theoret? Theoret? See? Theoret. That's what I was expecting. Something more like that. Theoret. I got a theoret. Theoret. Say it with me, guys. A little bit of French in it. Theoret. Theoret. You gotta roll that R. Theoret. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, if I pronounce stuff weird sometimes, that would be why. All right. Holy shit. I'm almost back on the board. Okay, one more pick, guys. One more pick. For reals this time. One more pick. And then we're gonna cut it off. All right. Let's see. Who's gonna be the final pick of the home league stream? Oh, I definitely don't want to go another rookie. I don't want to go JSN. It's too early to take another quarterback. Unless I were to take Levis there, but I'm not super in on that. A naked Levis. I don't have any correlation whatsoever. Yeah, no, I hate that. I don't want that at all. I see one guy I don't mind. I see another rookie that everyone else is in love with. Me, not so much. Ugh, this is kind of a dead zone of the draft. I'm not gonna lie. Pat fire me if I'm just not even touching that. It might just be a time to start reaching on some guys here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to wait on my third quarterback. I mean, like, the one thing I'll say before I sign off here, before I make this pick, in Superflex, quarterback is overrated. And I know that sounds weird because it's like you have to start to. Actually, you don't. It's called Superflex because you can flex any position in that spot. So if you just have like an absolute garbage quarterback, but you have like an amazing wide receiver running back, you should be starting them still over that quarterback. It's rare, but it happens. Oh god, he made it back to me. So we'll take Tony Pollard here because I actually really like Tony Pollard this year. Which again, I was out on him last year, but this year, and I double checked with someone. The new coach there for the Titans, formerly offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm forgetting his name. I think it's like Zach Taylor or some shit like that. He runs a lot of outside zone run scheme though. And that's what Tony Pollard succeeds in. The reason he looked bunk in the Cowboys offense, besides the fact that he was playing through coming back from injury, is the fact that what's his name? Schottenheimer there runs he runs that shit right up the center's ass. Like they run a lot of A and B gap schemes, which is really not Tony Pollard's game. He is more of an outside zone scheme runner. So I actually think he has a really good shot at succeeding for the Tennessee Titans this year. But yeah, just to wrap up what I was saying about quarterback. Obviously, quarterback. I mean, we saw it last year. There were like so many injuries, guys getting hurt. We already saw it this year with JJ McCarthy going down. Now you have Sam Darnold and Nick Mullins probably sees the field at some point this season. So, and there's still lots of guys late that I'm willing to take the shot on. Like, before the announcement was made, and a lot of stuff that I was, because I've been doing drafts literally since before the draft, like the NFL draft. In some Superflex leagues, like I was punting quarterback till the end, and then I took 4 quarterbacks, but they were room. So like in Warrior Bowl, for example, I punted quarterback and I took Justin Fields and Russ, and then I took Gardner Minshew and AOC. So I was like, okay, no matter what, I've got a starting quarterback. But then also in my mind, again, Justin Fields, no matter how bad he is at actually being a quarterback, he breaks fantasy every time he starts because he runs so much. Like even in the preseason game, he had no pocket awareness, looked pretty horrible making passes, but ran 8 times for 54 yards. If he does that in a regular a football game, again, it's huge for fantasy football. So I've been taking a lot of what I call Justin Fields lottery tickets late in Superflex drafts. But that's it for me, guys. It's been a really long day already. This one is running a little bit over. Super appreciate everybody in the chats, everybody watching out there. Again, appreciate Eric. Thank you so much for setting this league up and running it as a commissioner. You, sir, are a gentleman and a scholar. Everyone out there, if you guys want to help me out, I would super appreciate if you super kick that subscribe, that like button. I think I'm only like 2 subscribers away from 200, which is just crazy to me because honestly, when I started this, again, very much as a hobby, my little corner of the internet, I was like, if I get 20 subscribers, that would be like laughably amazing. But to get to 200 is just, again, absolutely mind-boggling to me. So we'll keep it going until we get to 2,000, but I'm going to celebrate the milestones as we go along. I don't announce like goals and shit because I don't actually have goals. But when I get to the milestones, the little ones that I like, I'll appreciate them along the way. So if you guys want to super kick the subscribe, the like, drop some comments, algorithm stuff. But until the next time, I'll catch all of you guys on the flip side.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man. Here comes